Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Manon, and today we're on episode 10, I think 10, of Cain's Jawbone. Hi, I am shortly underbreaking this small little video to tell you a little bit of where I've been, because I've been super MIA. And that is for a very simple reason that I've bought a house, which is quite unexpected. I didn't expect that to happen, but it's a house that needs a lot of TLC, a lot of projecting, a lot of work. So that's kind of what I've been up to make sure that it is ready, for, at least for me, sort of ready to move into. Like, this is the most done space you're gonna have, with like a flooring, a wall that's actually painted white. But to make sure that it's like sort of ready for me to move into it, I just had to let go of a lot of things. Unfortunately, that also included a channel, which I didn't like. I was initially like, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be able to do everything and work on the house. I didn't. I am moving in a few weeks, and I thought like, oh, I'm gonna be back in May. I will not be back in May. I'm gonna be back in June. You're gonna see me back on your feeds in June, because that will give me a little bit of time to make sure that I create good content, that I'm not rushing anything, that there's quality there, that there's videos that you will enjoy watching, I will enjoy making. It'll definitely include more Cain's Jawbone episode. We're not letting this go. I still have the plan to finish it this year. A lot of other book related content. If you guys want to see more about the house and the projects, let me know in the description box down below, and I will definitely try to film as much as I can and showcase as much as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching this little in-between take. Bye! We're gonna have 3 pages today. If you've never been here before, welcome. What I basically do on this channel is we go through the pages of Cain's Jawbone like individually. I just like go through the page, see maybe some of the clues that like catch my eye, and then I mention the most important ones that I feel like actually have some significant solution that I found, or I feel like, okay, this could actually help us move forward into figuring out the solution. I don't mention all of them. You can find all of them in the document that I've linked down below in the description box. Other than that, sit back, relax. The first page is page 20. So this is the page 20. Okay, so who we see here in the page itself is like, we come across Will's friend, whose name is Ben, and Will's wife, who isn't mentioned by name, but she is referred to as the inheritor of the second best bed, which is a reference to Anne Hathaway, by the way, not the actress, but Shakespeare's wife, because she inherited the second best bed. And then we have Ben, who's also referred to as the bricklayer out of Annandale, which is a reference to Ben Jonson, who is a poet. I think these are like fair names to remember. Then we have the line, underneath this stone he had said, doth lie as much beauty as could die, which is from a poem by, it's a poem from Ben Jonson. It talks about a woman's death, specifically Elizabeth, but I don't know if that name comes by somewhere, but we do, I think, have mentioned, like, I think a few videos ago we talked about how probably one of the victims is female, is a woman. So maybe he either is involved in this, he's aware, or at least he's aware of it. So I think this also showcases that all of the stories are somewhat connected or have recurring characters, which I think we all kind of knew, but it's like nice to be reassured in a while. We have all the way at the beginning of the page, which I totally skipped, is the line, the best I had done seemed to me blank and suspicious. My great thought as I suppose them, were they not in reality meager? That's a poem by Walter Whitman. And maybe you think, I've heard that name before. You would be correct. He's also mentioned on page 32, the poet. It's a different poem though, but you can also like just figure out like, hey, So this page is probably connected in some way through page 32. So that's important. And then I think the last clue of this page, it's not the last clue, but I think there are a few more pages on this clue. There are a few more clues on these pages. There are a few more clues on this page. I think one is talking about also like the sentence, nor had either had anything to do with my waking, my strong tea and my first bill. And I couldn't really pinpoint really well what that meant. I think there were like a whole slew of possible solutions, and I felt like not comfortable with any of them to really like stick it onto this one. So I was like, in the future, just remember this line. I do think it definitely relates to something. I just don't really know what. And then it also talks about the oldest brass in England. The oldest brass piece, which is like in Sussex, which we've also like mentioned before. There are a lot of things that I could tie to, and I feel like there are a lot of ways we can use it. So yeah, that's page 1. So we go on to the next pages. Okay, so the next 2 pages are 2 pages that belong together because they're tied together through a poem, which is page 92 and 42. And I'm gonna show them to you. It's 92, and you can see some, here's the poem. See some of the text, and then we also have page 42. You see like a continuation of that poem, and then we have more text. I feel like this is a very long description of a person. So yeah, we'll get to that. The names that we have a great aunt mentions. We have our dearest friend Henry, who is also mentioned, and the human one. Because we've mentioned before that there's a dog named Henry. This is the human one, given the fact that he's married to a woman. Okay, so the POV, the person who writes this, is neither of these people, but what we can say about that person is he came from a poor background, because due to the fact that they are eating oysters, 92 starts off, my earlier days had been so different. There hadn't been the comfort, the sense of indulgence or of adventure that there was now. I bit into the last of the oysters and someone carried away the shells. So there are multiple things. So he clearly mentions like, I'm not used to this like adventure, these type of safety, which I think often these words can sound to me like financial safety, that you can take certain chances. And also he bit into oyster. Look, if you've never had an oyster before, don't bite into them. Possibly tied into the other pages that we have, where we have at least 1, maybe 2 POVs that are involving themselves into the higher circles of society. Okay, and then it talks about minty humbugs, and this one is interesting. Is that how we're spelling it? Yes. This references an accidental poisoning of arsenic through candy, which happened quite a while ago, but this was a really big story. Apparently sugar was very, very expensive, because naturally the UK doesn't grow sugar on its own with sugar cane, because climate, you know. So it was a very, very expensive product. It was only for the higher society. So what a lot of candy makes is they found other ways to sweeten candy, and apparently someone was like, arsenic, I got you, that works. A lot of people died. I think about 100 people died from that. So, you know, accidents happen. The silver lining is that a law was apparently approved to be more aware of like what you put into food. But we have accidental arsenic, and I think we have somewhere else where there's also like poisoning involved. So whether this person is related to that, because I think, if I remember correctly, we have saw this other couple, richer couple, was also talking about poisoning socially, but I think that was through tea or something. I'm not quite sure, but there's also like poisoning involved. So now the question remains, like, was just one person poisoned, or were there multiple poisonings? The poem that binds them together is, yet now my heart leaps, O beloved, God's child with his dew on thy gracious gold hair, and those lilies still living and blue. Just broken to twine around thy sharp strings, as if no wild weed were now raging to torture the desert than I, as was meet. The poem is called Saul by Robert Browning, and we've seen Robert Browning before, I believe. But basically what this poem is talking about, it goes specifically, the poem itself is about religious extremes, and more specifically about how vanity and how something goes terribly wrong between humility and vanity. So like the line between that seems to kind of vanish, and how they start overlapping each other, or you like lose your way into like what is humility and what's vanity. It's like, you know, those people on social media who are like, I'm gonna show you how great I am by giving to homeless people, but I need to film every single aspect. And it's like, there's a fine line there between humility and vanity. Are you doing this because you care, or are you doing this because you want the numbers? So, which is very interesting, and I think that we have to take a look where that humility and vanity is kind of like changing. It's like maybe there's someone who used to be very humble, but then became very vain throughout the pages in line, and maybe that person is involved into the poisoning. At least it's something that we're referencing to in these pages. And then the last one, like I said, on the next page there's like so many descriptors of the female that he's with, the woman that he's with, which is fine. And I think there is another page where also human Henry is like very well described, also in his physicality. Barely anyone makes a description of people, but this POV like person does. And I think because we've seen it now twice with two people who are also like close to each other, it's possibly the same person. What they wrote about a woman is she Saul? Seems like her name is Julian, like she would come across as someone like that. Don't know what that means. Dark eyes, golden eyelashes, so also golden hair, I assume. A soft purring voice. She smokes, she drinks cocktails. She has a butterfly of white lace that she kind of used as a handkerchief. And she moves very gracefully. Those are the clues for today. You can, like I said, document down below, you can find it if you want to see more of this. And just want to know when I upload, you can subscribe and also put the notification bell on, so you'll be notified when a new video comes up. And yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you guys out a bit as well, and up until next time, bye.